Although my family is 100% Ashkenaz, my grandfather and my father consider our family to be Sephardic. My mother's side of the family is also 100% Ashkenaz, but unlike my father's side of the family, they acknowledge it. Every year, my family and I, including my grandparents from both sides, travel to Israel for Passover. Though we've been taking this trip for over 7 years, at each Seder we always have the same dilemma: which Haggadah should we use? My father's parents prefer the Spanish and Portuguese Haggadah, while my mother's parents prefer the Ashkenaz Haggadah. At each and every Seder, we spend at least 20 minutes debating this issue until we decide to compromise. One grandfather will be able to say this part, while the other will be able to say another. It was not until recently that I began to ponder why each grandparent was so passionate about reading from his own custom. I decided to look through both Haggadot and find some major differences. Maybe these differences would explain why one prefers the Ashkenaz while the other prefers the Sephardic. After looking through both Haggadot, the difference that struck me most was that of the Manishtana. From the time that we are little, we grow up with the notion that there are 4 questions in the following order: why eat matzah, why eat maror, why dip twice, why recline? I was very surprised when I opened to the Manishtana and the Sephardic Haggadah to find that the questions were out of order. Why dip twice? Why eat matzah? Why eat maror? Why recline? After thinking about this major difference, I decided to look at the Mishnah in which the Manishtana appears. In Masechet Psachim, Perek Arvei Psachim, Daf Kaftet Zayin Amud Aleph, the Mishnah presents us with the order of the Manishtana. The order is as follows: matzah, maror, korban pesach, dip twice. Though the order presented in the Mishnah is slightly different than the Ashkenaz minhag today, the Sephardic minhag is totally different. Why, if the Mishnah's questions are in that specific order, would the Sfaradim have a different order? I decided to consult Rabbi Albo. Rabbi Albo introduced me to the Rif, also known as Rabbi Isaac Alfasi, who had a seemingly different order of the Manishtana in his Mishnah. After looking at the Rif, Rabbi Albo introduced me to the Rambam, who paraphrases the Rif's Mishnah. After looking at the Rif, the Rambam, and the Vilna edition of the Gemara, I found that the Sfaradim and Ashkenazim have different girsaot of the Mishnah. However, the question is still yet to be answered. Now that I know that the Sfaradim and the Ashkenazim have different girsaot of the Mishnah, what is the underlying and fundamental reasoning for the orders given in the Mishnayot? In my opinion, the Sephardic order of the Manishtana makes most sense when thinking about the actual purpose of the Manishtana. The Manishtana is there to allow the children to ask questions. According to the Sfaradim, the Manishtana is in chronological order of the Seder. It makes most sense for a child to ask the questions in chronological order. The Ashkenazim, however, seem to put the Manishtana in order of importance. The first 3 questions are about mitzvot, which are from the Torah. The last question pertains to a mitzvah that is midrabanan. However, a child, in my opinion, would not necessarily understand the whole issue of deoraita and drabanan. The Sephardic answer, therefore, makes most logical sense. The child will ask his or her questions in the chronological order of the Seder, not in order of the importance of the mitzvah. A valuable lesson about how one approaches teaching can be learned from this passage that only constitutes a part of our Seder. In my opinion, the Sephardic nusach of the Manishtana exemplifies the teaching approach, which is student-child geared. The child will be able to relate more to the order presented in the Sephardic nusach as it is in chronological order. On the other hand, I would say that the Ashkenaz custom is teacher-parent geared. The Ashkenaz nusach is in order of the importance of the mitzvah. Though the child will be asking these questions, the reasoning behind the order is geared at the parents setting forth the recognition of the lesson of deoraita and drabanan. Though at this year's Seder, my family will most likely use the Nusach Ashkenaz, I will finally understand why there is this major difference.